This is the One News special coverage of the national elections bilang Pilipino 2022. I'm Charles Lejano. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos keeps a far distance from his fellow presidential candidates. Let's check which regions voted in his favor. So as we can see here on this heat map, there's a bunch of red in the north, there's a bunch of red in the south, and as you can see, the pink here representing the votes for Vice President Leni Robredo lies somewhere here in the middle. But let's pay attention to some other colored points here. Interestingly, we have one candidate here who took Lanao del Sur. Si Faisal Mangondato actually is #1 in Lanao del Sur. And if we zoom out again, we'll see there's a little bit of blue down here representing Sarangani. Oh, sorry, this one. Sarangani, which went to, of course, Manny Pacman Pacquiao with 155,776 votes. Now, I'd like to bring everybody's attention to this L2L corridor, commonly known as the Lingayen to Lucena corridor, which spans Pangasinan, Central Luzon, the National Capital Region, and Calabarzon. Just in case you're not too much into geography like me, historically this accounts for around 39.8% of votes, or around 21.6 million votes based on 2016 data. So the common knowledge here is that if you get the L2L corridor, there's a good chance that you can also get the election. Okay, so let's take a look at what the L2L corridor had to say during this election, starting with Pangasinan. We have an overwhelming lead for Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at 1.3 million over Leni Robredo's around 280,000 votes. That's in Pangasinan. And Marcos also won in Calabarzon with 3.9 million votes versus Leni's 2.6. Let's break that down here as we go to the numbers for, there we go, we have Cavite. Marcos has 1.1 million votes over Leni Robredo's around 500,000 votes. We have in Batangas, 717,000 versus 653,000 votes. It's closer in Batangas than it was elsewhere. And we have Laguna, where Marcos has the 920,000 votes versus Leni Robredo's 500,000. And interestingly, we have Leni Robredo getting Quezon, 605,000 over 437,000. But then it's not enough to get the L2L corridor. L2L corridor still very much went in favor of Marcos Jr. Supporter of presidential frontrunner Bongbong Marcos flocked to his headquarters in Mandaluyong City. Some of them stayed outside the headquarters until late night to celebrate Marcos Jr.'s lead in the presidential race. In a speech aired live on Facebook, he expressed gratitude for the support, but noted that the counting of votes was still underway.
Ay magpapasalamat ako sa mga kababayan ko na nandiyan sila at nagsuporta sila hindi lamang sa mga kandidato, hindi lamang sa aming partido, kung hindi sa magandang bukas ng ating minamahal na Pilipinas. At yan sa akin ang pinakamahalaga.
Some presidential candidates have released post-election messages as the transmission of election returns draws to a close. In a tweet, Senator Ping Lacson said he's going home. And he says he'll also enjoy peace and quiet as a reward for himself. Lacson currently sits at the 5th spot in the presidential race. Meanwhile, Dr. Jose Montemayor thanked his supporters and all those who helped him in his campaign. Montemayor is currently last among the 10 candidates for president. Presidential candidate Leody de Guzman, meanwhile, is coming in at 8th place as of this morning. And he is now joining us over Zoom. Good morning, Ka Leody. Thank you for spending your morning with us. Thank you for your time. Could you tell us how you're looking at these numbers? What do you have to say?
Una, maraming salamat sa pag-iimbita. At tulad din ng iba na tanggap ko yung pagkatalo dito sa eleksyong ito. At ako'y nananawag at nagpapasalamat sa aking mga supporter na hindi bumitaw doon sa pagsuporta sa akin at manawagan na rin sa kanila na tuloy ang laban para sa 750 pesos sa laban sa kontraktualisasyon at dagdagan natin yung laban sa land grabbing na ginagawa ng mga warlord at saka mga mayayaman sa laban doon sa ating mga kababayang mahihirap.
Right, Calyodi, during your campaign, talaga pong sinuyod nyo yung mga hard-to-reach areas, ika nga ng Pilipinas, no, as part of your campaign. Do you think you could have done anything differently during your campaign which may have altered the results insofar as you're concerned?
Oo. Maganda yung naging showing ng aking kampanya ngayon dahil una, na-break natin yung exclusivity ng posisyong presidente sa mga elite at mga bilyonaryo. Pwede pala ang manggagawa, ang leader ng sektor na tumakbo sa posisyong presidente. Yun nga lang ay tanggapin din natin na yung sistema ng eleksyon sa ating bansa ay dominado pa rin ng mga personalidad at ng mga bilyonaryo, pera-pera. Kaya kinakailangan nating mas malawak pang maabot yung ating mga kababayan para ipaliwanag sa kanila na hindi elitistang paksyon ang papalit doon sa isang paksyon ng mga elitista rin. Wala pa rin maasahan. Tulad din lamang ng nangyari sa mga nakaraan. Kaya kami nag-alok ng alternative. Ngayon ay kailangan pang trabahuhin. Kailangan pa nating abutin ang pinakamalawak na bilang ng ating mga mamayan, lalo na mga botante, at ipaliwanag sa kanila yung tamang solusyon, tamang mga kandidato na dapat iboto kapag panahon ng halalan.
Right, Calyodi, we are looking at what looks like a Marcos presidency. What's next for you after this presidential run?
Tuloy lang yung aking pagkipaglaban, pagsama sa ating mga kababayan sa iba't ibang sektor. Dahil alam mo naman, hindi naman ako talaga politiko, hindi ako trapo, at lalong hindi ako political dynasty na pagkakatapos ng eleksyon ay nagtatago na at babalik na lang ulit kapag kahalalan. Ako naman ay tulad ng sinasabi ko, kami ay Walden, nung aking katiket, sila Luke Espiritu, Boy Canobonegro at David De Angelo, at saka yung aking party list na PLM, ayan naman ay tuloy-tuloy na nakikipaglaban kahit walang halalan. Kaya asahan ng aking mga supporters at ng aking mamayan, hindi titigil si Calyodi sa pakikipaglaban para sa interes at kagalingan ng masang Pilipino.
Salamat po for your time, Calyodi. That was presidential candidate Leody de Guzman joining us via Zoom. And that's the latest on the 2022 elections at this hour. Stay tuned for more updates on the results and other election-related stories. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News, all sides, all the time.